It's time to address an issue that's been coming up here as of late. Been a lot of talk here recently about SMU quarterback Kevin Jennings being possibly tampered with by Alabama to bring him in during the off season. We have a super chat here that addresses this issue, so we're going to tackle it. Does us reaching out to SMU quarterback Kevin Jennings worry y'all? Does that show lack of faith in Ty Simpson? Fellas, let's talk about it.
I'll say this about SMU's quarterback. The kid is actually pretty good. I watched him play a lot last year. The kid is actually pretty good. He took that SMU offense to a whole new level. You're talking about dynamic on so many levels.
Marvin, you're talking about Kevin Jennings.
People like you and me and that really follow it, and people like Smoke would know about Kevin, but a lot of people, what they got is they didn't watch SMU throughout the year. They saw him play that last game up north where he didn't play his best game, but he actually kind of kept him in it, but started out a little rough. But no, that guy can play.
But Pettey, if you look at it, I would say it like this. Going into last year's season, I don't think any of us thought that SMU was going to be in the first inaugural college football playoffs at all. And Kevin Jennings wasn't even a starter at the beginning of the season. It was Preston Stone.
That's right.
First game of the season, Preston came out, was inconsistent. Kevin Jennings took the reins, ran with it. Now, at that time, he was more of a dual threat guy, better runner than a thrower. But as the season went along, he lost his number one target, R.J. Maryland. But Rashad Smith and Kevin Jennings did enough in the ACC to finish up. They lost in the championship game to Clemson, correct?
Yeah.
And got into the playoffs, lost in that game against Penn State. But I wouldn't foresee Alabama trying to get a quarterback like that. That's not a pass-first guy, knowing the issues that they had with the guy that was there last year, being a more runner than a passer.
Well, here's the thing about it. I think more of anything, like you said, is rumor mill, because here's the dilemma. In this age of NIL and the transfer portal, you don't want to go on the field with an unproven quarterback, and that's what Alabama's doing this year. We're going on to the field in the SEC with an unproven quarterback. So as a coach, if I had the opportunity to go out and get a guy that I know is proven and that is going to give me what I need and that's going to give my team a fighting chance, why wouldn't I take a shot at it? But I'm not saying to take a shot at the kid from SMU. But, I mean, as a coach, I would much rather go out there with somebody I know is going to give me what I need, opposed to hoping that, hey.
Marvin, you know what? And I usually ask coaches this when I was sitting in my chair as general manager. This is not the NFL, right? And back in the day, before the transfer portal hit and everybody was going out and tampering with other players.
Okay.
There was a time that you went into the season with an unknown quarterback or unknown receiver or unknown players, coaches, to get the players ready. Like when you went out there as a redshirt freshman, you didn't start a game before. Travis Carroll was a starting linebacker. So you were an unproven linebacker to the world, right, outside of Tuscaloosa that knew how good you were. But, I mean, that's a part of it. You and Salim and Miguel Merritt, you guys were the three starters. Miguel was a JUCO guy that came in the year before, wasn't a full-time starter. You weren't a full-time starter, and Salim wasn't a full-time starter. That's a young group of linebackers in terms of experience.
But the problem with that is under the microscope at quarterback. So,
Michael Vick. I mean, all I'm saying is
I understand what you're saying, but I'm just saying, in this era, if I had a chance to go get somebody who's proven,
I agree with you. I would, but let's not look past that. It happens.
It's rumors suggest that Alabama attempted to recruit SMU quarterback Kevin Jennings. It's a rumor, so it's not actual. It's a rumor. We don't want anybody saying that we're putting out false information, but it was a rumor, and you didn't hear it here at the Bama Standard.
I shot that down. I don't think that was a play. Yeah.
It's a rumor. It's the slow part of the media season, right, guys? Not to take anything away from Kevin Jennings, but I don't understand why Coach DeBoer would pivot from a Ty Simpson who has spent time learning his system and fits what Coach DeBoer wants from quarterback who can run his system, to bring in Kevin, whose skill set does not match what the offense calls for. And the other part of it is, although he has experience as a starter, playoff experience as a starter, he doesn't have experience in this offense. So, Smoke, Marvin, how long would it take to get the install properly to where you could say Kevin Jennings could come here and make a significant impact? And we're just talking hypotheticals. I honestly don't think that this happened.
So this is what it is, Justin. Unless if we don't want, we can just remove the name or even the question and just say, how quickly can you get an athlete up to speed year one in terms of installation and getting comfortable with the offense?
That's fair.
It all depends on how quickly that person learns. It has a lot to do with his mental aptitude. There's some guys that can get a playbook and within a month they know it inside and out just because they can apply concepts that they've learned. See, football is it's a different dialect, but it's typically the same schemes,
Concepts.
the same concepts. So when you talk about offense, it's just different verbiage and how you get to it. So if you can take what you did in other places and just flip it and just use the words just to match the concept that's applicable to you at that moment, then you pick it up like this. So it's just learning. So if you can learn another language, you can learn how to play football, as long as you know how to apply the information that's given to you.
Because there's only so many routes receivers can run. There's only so many run plays you can run. There's only so many coverages you can run.
Right.
But it's all about the concept. It's about the concept.
At the end of the day, Steve, when I was coaching, I always wanted to make every concept make sense to you. So if I figured out that you wanted to be, that you're a funny guy, you know comedians, well, I'll have a concept that is the Martin Lawrence concept. And everything Martin Lawrence would start with an M and end with an L. Right? So every concept I would put in that. So if I say, hey, Steve, we're running the Martin Lawrence concept today, you would know right now, M and L. And that should say something to you. If it's Red Fox, that should mean something to you. If I say Eddie Murphy. So I would just use things to help you learn as quickly as possible. I would change my language to fit you so you can learn it. And once you learn it, then you can apply the information. Go ahead.
It'll just be the Steve Brown concept.
No, so for Steve, it would have been short bus.
Sure, yeah.
Hey, Steve, then I would use color and I would use crayons. Red, blues, greens, oranges. They all meant different concepts.
I no longer
red is to the right.
Signature in crayon.
I no longer want to be a part of this show.
Green is to the left.
Come back.
Go ahead.
But another aspect you can look at, what kind of ripple effect would bringing in a new quarterback, regardless of what he has accomplished, do? All of a sudden, you got guys who like Keelan Russell and Austin Mack and Ty looking at the transfer portal. So why would you risk causing that much of a disruption in your quarterback room to bring in another quarterback? Can we also talk about the possible ripple effect of bringing in a new quarterback and what it does to possible team chemistry? What does it do in the locker room? What kind of disruption does that cause? We have chemistry built up with Ty Simpson, the receivers, the offensive line, running backs, etc. And then the guy behind him, Keelan, Austin. What does that do as far as disruption if you were to even remotely consider bringing in an outsider?
Here's the bigger thing, Justin. You start talking about chemistry when you bring in guys during the summer. And if you're anticipating this guy being a starter and he comes in August and you want him to start in end of August, come on, what about the chemistry that these guys have developed with the quarterback who was there before him? And again, you're talking about linemen who block for this guy in the spring and understand where he likes to be in the pocket, whether he steps up or if he likes to sprint out the pocket. There's so many little nuances that all these guys who play around you know what you want to do. They know what you like so that they can play accordingly based upon that. I knew Kenny Smith was going to do something dumb every other play, so I had to account for that. So it's things like that. When you play with these guys, you have that chemistry. It directly impacts what you do because you have a pretty high understanding of what they're potentially going to do.
Yes, two things can be true, Marvin. The way that you got to look at it is like we're old. We're old players. We're in our 40s. That means we played 20-something years ago. All that meant something to us. These kids, the way they look at it is not the same. Adding something new, going in the transfer portal, playing with a new 25 set of guys, it's normal behavior to them. you and I would look at him like, oh my God, no, but that's their new norm. So bringing in a new quarterback does not necessarily mean that they've never played with this guy before. A lot of these guys are doing 7-on-7.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these guys are going around the country and working out with different quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
Like we've seen a video of Alabama players working out in Atlanta with a trainer. Marvin, that in our day, that was like, no, what are you doing? You work. So it's nothing new to them. It sounds foreign to us, but it's normal behavior to them. And if a coach is willing to go out there and get a player out of the transfer portal to put him inside of a room, which he's monitored and evaluated for a year and a half, you're telling me something. You don't have to say it with your mouth. You got to say it with your action, because actions are louder than words. You bring somebody in new, you're flat out telling me they ain't good enough. Read the writings on the wall.
Great explanation, guys. Again, fans, I think the media plays to emotions that are attached to this team. They know that if you throw a little bit out, plant a little seed of doubt, then all of a sudden there's going to be an uproar, and what happens? Engagement for them. So before you get upset, let's inject logic into every situation.
Mm-hmm.
If that doesn't work, Smoke, what's your Twitter handle?
Coach GV Dixon.
That's right. That's where you go if you want to hear the straight truth.
But here's what I'm going to say as well now, Justin. When there's smoke, there's some type of fire behind it. Everything is not always a lie, but everything is not also the absolute truth as well.
That was deep, Steve.
They might have reached out to somebody.
In other words,
but
he's
not necessarily that guy.